Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and we'll get to the JRC in a moment, but first, the disclaimers and the trigger warning. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, pertinent links will be right there in the description box for you. Also, trigger warnings. We do have this channel marked not for kids for a reason. I do use profanity. And some of the topics we cover, like Judge Rotenberg Educational Center and Agape Boarding School, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, or if you have a child there that is 16 or younger that is watching this, parental supervision is very much advised, alright? All right, moving on to the next comment. Looks like we got a few short ones, just like the last vid. So let's go ahead and get into it. This says, I support a ban on electrical stimulation devices intended for self-injurious behavior or aggressive behavior. For decades, people with intellectual and developmental disabilities have been tortured by these devices at the Judge Rotenberg Center. Decade upon decade since the 90s. And then before that, as we know, it was pinching the feet until they bled, and pinching all over their bodies, the spanking with the spatulas, the forcing them to inhale pellets or pouring hot stops down their throats. Yeah, we remember. It is the only place in the country that still uses this barbaric and inhumane practice, despite substantial evidence that the shocks are painful and traumatizing to residents. So this is a copy and paste. As per usual, some of those are always going to be like that regardless. And a lot of people use templates in particular. I know that templates are used a lot by ASAN, and it does help with individuals who have difficulty in typing, where you can submit your name and your email and you send out the template. And I'm thinking that's where a lot of these are coming from. But it's a cool tool if you want to go to autismselfadvocacynetwork.com and you have those issues. They do have those templates for you where you can just click on the link, and that way you will be able to use it if you have difficulties in those areas. Oh, sorry folks. Wrong area. Wrong area. All right. We go forward here. All right, let's take a look at the next one here. Let's see what this comment says. Shocking people as discipline is inherently inhumane, especially when people are being shocked for natural behaviors. This is a form of torture, and it is disgusting that it has been permitted for so long in this practice now. For the love of God, yes. There is a difference between restraining someone when you have to and when it's being done constantly for the slightest behavior that's not a part of the code that you're trying to get them to not do. And a lot of times when normal people are doing the restraining, they do it without the intention of actually causing that person physical pain. It's them subduing someone so that they don't hurt themselves or anyone else, right? The attention with the GED device, now Dr. Israel said, well, that's what we do with the device. Then why was the device designed to hurt people? Takedown strategies for people like my mom back in her med assistant days are actually designed to cause as little pain and discomfort to the individual who needs taken down as humanly possible. The GED device is designed to cause the most immense amount of pain possible within a few seconds. But the intent is to hurt the person wearing it. Therein lies the difference. So, let me say that again for JRC and the Kool-Aid drinking parents. The difference between the GED device and a takedown restraint is when you do a takedown restraint on a patient, it is not being done with the intention of hurting someone. And when they do occur, these are individuals who, like my mom, were very especially trained in doing them so that they do not cause the patient any injury and cause the most minimal amount of harm, possible injury, as humanly possible while restraining them. The intention is not to induce physical pain upon the individual they are needing to restrain. These are two very different things, JRC. They are not the same. No one doing a takedown is doing it with the deliberate goal of hurting the individual, and they go out of their way to not do so. Your device is designed specifically to cause immense pain. Your words, not ours. There's a massive difference between the two. And I love seeing that the majority of these comments are people with common goddamn sense. But let's go again. We'll take a look at a few more here. Scroll down a little bit. Oh, would you look at that? We're almost done with the first page, folks. All right, let's take a look at this one. All right, the use of electric shock therapy is aberrant, abusive, and ineffective. It takes advantage of vulnerable populations and uses an intervention proven in multiple studies and meta-analysis to be non-evidence-based. When I tell you the medical model loves no other string of words in this world quite like evidence-based, I am not exaggerating. It robs individuals of the opportunity to seek out effective and evidence-based treatment, stealing time and resources with a false promise of improvement. Oh, go off, bestie! Go off! I'm gonna need this comment on a hoodie, too. The FDA must support effective and compassionate treatment oh my god, I can't talk today. Modalities and protect consumers from harmful and ineffective treatment. I can't believe I'm 40 and every once in a while I still get taken straight back to childhood with an unfamiliar word and sounding it out and probably butchering it. Kind of a blow to the ego a little bit, you know. I'm known as being a really big reader. But you know what? It's useful. Sometimes I need to be humbled in that area. I don't have a lot of vanity, but when it comes to my books and intelligence and knowledge, sometimes I need to be taken down a little bit. But usually it's my brother and not the internet. Alright. We're getting so close to the end here, we might end up just finishing this page here. Alright, let's take a look at this one. Alright, so they say use of electric shock devices on people is inhumane and degrading. Using any form of inflicted pain for behavior modification should not be permissible. Assault is not treatment. Please pass the ban. Beautiful wording at the end. Oh my gosh. Beautiful wording. Because that puts it in stark relief for people. Something that is completely stripped from all the fancy words, stripped from all the word salad, stripped from all the doublespeak and the lies, and just hits it home. Assault is not treatment. When you use those devices on those kids, it's assault. It's abuse. It's torture. Just because the individuals that are being assaulted have a disability, do not change the fact that what you're doing is assault. Nor does calling it medicine or treatment make it not assault. And I believe we got one more to go here, and then we'll close out until the next video. These ones have been short and to the point, haven't they? Alright, final comment. Here we go. Says, I myself am neurodivergent. When I heard about this proposal, I was very surprised and upset that these still needed banning in the first place. Speak on it. Bro, I've been doing this for over 20 years. Well, almost over 20 years. We're getting close. We're getting real close. Next year it will be. I feel that. I feel that on a deep spiritual level. You got no idea. You speak for all of us, and I don't say that often to anyone about anything. This is something I'd expect from the days when we still jammed nails into people's brains, not the modern era. The fact that these weren't banned years ago is disgraceful. Speak on it! Somebody get her megaphone and a soapbox. I'm not joking or being mean. These devices don't teach good coping mechanisms. They simply hurt people like me for being the way they are, down to punishing us for yelling in pain as we're being punished for something else. Literally, the Andre McCollins video, folks. Video surveillance footage, you can look it up now and find it on YouTube if you don't believe us. Disciplining someone with electric shock is abusive and cruel to begin with. Further punishing them for reacting negatively to the punishment is sadistic and wholly divorced from reality. Can anyone explain to me why nobody actually discusses that part? Because it doesn't. The few times we see this in the media, nobody ever covers that part. Nobody ever covers that part. And it's kind of central. Let's read that again. Disciplining someone with electric shock is abusive and cruel to begin with. Further punishing them for reacting negatively to the punishment is sadistic and wholly divorced from reality. You're literally punishing them for reacting to the fact that they're being abused. To really bring that home, at horrifying this is. You remember in court, it was brought out that Andre McCollins continued to get shocked because his screaming in reaction to his pain and begging them to stop, it was considered aggressive, so it added on shocks. And the fact that every time they shocked his muscles, those muscles very naturally would tense up, and he would get shocked for that, and that would be called an aggressive behavior. These are some of the most sadistic individuals that you are going to see outside of a damn Saw movie. That is not talked about nearly enough. Nearly enough. I mean, that should be driven home, particularly to the Kool-Aid drinking parents that say, but this is the only thing that helps. You need to pin them down. I'm sorry, but fuck mercy. Fuck mercy. Pin them down and ask them if they think that it is okay for them to continue to shock their child because their child reacted to the original punishment by screaming due to pain. Do the parents then think it's okay for them to shock their child again for screaming in pain to the original punishment? And keep them pinned there until they answer. Do they think it is okay when their child cries in pain from the device that they are then shocked again because they reacted in pain? Because if the parent says yes, their child needs to be removed from their custody immediately. And that child needs to go under guardianship that is not being controlled by the Massachusetts probate court, because they have shown time and again they cannot be trusted. They live inside the JRC's back pocket. Because if they didn't, we wouldn't be still having this damn conversation, would we? Let's be real here. She says, I want the FDA to pass a rule banning the use of electric shock devices for behavioral modification. Hashtag stop the shock. Kinda just says it all, doesn't it? We're going to close out on that. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments and double check and make sure that you are still set up for notifications. We are still doing more than just one series right now. We don't want you to miss anything. I do appreciate your time. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. We'll see you all in a little bit. Bye-bye, everyone.